Yarrick moved quickly through the narrow corridors of the starport, balancing a stack of small crates on his shoulder. He was a delivery boy, one of the lowest ranks in the interstellar courier service, but he liked his job. It was simple, predictable, and it kept him moving. Every day was the same: pick up packages, deliver them to faraway colonies, and return with his ship empty, ready for the next round. Most people ignored him, which suited Yarrick just fine. He had learned early that being unnoticed had its advantages. No one bothered him, no one asked questions, and he could get his work done without interference. He liked the quiet life. But today something felt different. The ship's navigation console buzzed strangely, and the crate he carried hummed softly. It was small, covered in dust, with strange symbols etched on its sides. Yarrick frowned. The instructions said it was just a routine delivery to an abandoned outpost. Routine was routine, but something about this crate felt wrong. Yarrick shrugged and adjusted the load. Probably just old wiring, he muttered to himself, forcing a smile. He boarded his ship, a small, battered freighter that had seen better days. The engine roared to life, shaking the deck beneath his boots. He punched in the coordinates from the delivery manifest: a remote sector near the edge of known space. Most delivery boys would have ignored this route. It was dangerous, full of asteroids and long-abandoned stations. But Yarrick had no choice. It was his job. As the ship left the starport, the city lights faded behind him, replaced by the endless black of space. Stars stretched out in every direction, distant suns glowing like fireflies. Yarrick leaned back in his seat and sighed. He liked this view. There was peace in it, a sense of freedom that the busy starport never gave him. Yet the humming crate made him uneasy. It wasn't a loud sound, just a low vibration that seemed to echo in his chest. He tapped it with a gloved hand. Nothing happened. Hours passed. The route was quiet. No pirates, no storms, just the endless void. Yarrick kept glancing at the crate. He had never seen anything like it before. The symbols on its surface twisted and shimmered when he caught them at the corner of his eye. Just imagination, he muttered. He had said that too many times already. Still, he felt a strange pull toward the crate, as if it was calling him. Finally, the ship's sensors picked up the outpost. It was a small platform floating near a dying planet, battered by solar winds and meteors. The computer labeled it Star Graveyard Outpost, though the name meant little to Yarrick. Most of these places were abandoned decades ago, left to drift in space as relics of forgotten colonies. He docked carefully, the ship groaning under the strain. The airlock hissed open, revealing a shadowed corridor lined with rusted metal. Yarrick stepped inside, holding the crate tightly. The air smelled stale, like it had not been touched for years. He flicked on his flashlight. Dust floated in the air, illuminated by the narrow beam. The corridor was silent, too silent, and the walls seemed to close in on him. Every step echoed, making him jump. He told himself he was overreacting. After all, it was just an old outpost. No one lived here. The crate seemed to grow heavier with every step. Yarrick set it down carefully, wiping his brow. Symbols on the walls matched the ones on the crate. They glowed faintly, like embers in the dark. Yarrick knelt to examine them. He had no idea what they meant, but they felt important, ancient. The humming grew louder. He reached out, and the crate vibrated under his hands. His heart thumped in his chest. Probably just a broken power source, he said, trying to reassure himself. But the words felt hollow. The symbols on the wall seemed to shimmer in response. A draft of cold air brushed past him, carrying whispers he could almost hear. Yarrick froze. He looked around. Nothing moved. Only the crate sat there, humming steadily. Curiosity got the better of him. He opened the crate carefully, expecting perhaps old tools, broken machines, or some forgotten supplies. Instead, he found a small, glowing tablet, carved from a material he had never seen before. Light flowed across its surface like liquid silver. Symbols moved, forming patterns that seemed almost alive. Yarrick felt a shiver run down his spine. He had no idea what it was, but he knew it was not meant for ordinary eyes. The urge to speak the symbols grew stronger, almost irresistible. Yarrick found himself murmuring sounds he did not understand. They slipped from his lips naturally, like he had known them all his life. The air in the corridor seemed to thrum with energy. The walls pulsed with light. Yarrick's heart raced, both with fear and wonder. He did not know it yet, but he had just spoken the dead language of the Star Kings, a language lost for millennia. A low hum turned into a deep vibration. The symbols on the tablet flared brightly, and the entire corridor shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. Yarrick stumbled backward, staring in awe at the glowing tablet. He had only meant to deliver a package, Yet now something far greater had been awakened. He pressed a hand to his chest, trying to calm his racing heart. His ordinary life as a simple delivery boy seemed a distant memory. Somehow he knew that everything had changed. The crate, the symbols, the whispers, none of it was ordinary. Something ancient and powerful had noticed him. And for the first time in his quiet, unremarkable life, Yarrick felt that he mattered. The stars outside the outpost seemed to flicker, as if the universe itself had paused to watch. Yarrick stood there, breathing heavily, the crate humming at his feet. He did not yet understand what he had done or what it meant, but he knew one thing clearly: this was no longer just a routine delivery. Something extraordinary had begun. Yarrick stood frozen in the corridor, staring at the glowing tablet. The symbols danced across its surface, shifting like liquid metal. His heart pounded so hard he could feel it in his ears. He had never seen anything like this before, not in the starport, not in the shipping lanes, and certainly not in his quiet life as a delivery boy. Yet here it was, alive and humming with power. The walls around him began to glow brighter. The symbols etched into the metal shimmered and pulsed, casting long shadows that twisted across the floor. A strange vibration moved through the air, not loud but deep, something that resonated inside his chest. Yarrick swallowed hard. He wanted to step back, but his feet felt glued to the floor. Something inside him told him he could not leave, not yet. He glanced at the crate again. The tablet floated slightly above its surface, held by an invisible force. The humming had grown louder, forming a low, melodic sound. It was almost like the crate and the tablet were trying to speak. Yarrick's mouth went dry. He had only meant to deliver a package. He had not meant to wake whatever this was. A whisper reached his ears, soft at first, like wind through a broken air vent. Then it became clearer, forming words he did not understand. He tried to speak, and the sounds came out naturally, as if they had been waiting for him all along. He said them slowly at first, testing, then faster, unsure why he could pronounce them without effort. The walls responded. Symbols glowed brighter, lines connecting like circuits lighting up one by one. The chamber itself seemed alive now. A soft light extended from the walls, forming shapes in the air. Figures began to appear, massive and glowing, tall beyond imagination. They did not walk or move like humans, but they existed, hovering in the air. Yarrick's eyes widened. He had awakened the Star Kings, beings long thought extinct, rulers of the galaxy in an age before humans had even left their homeworlds. He stepped backward, bumping into the crate. It hummed in response, almost like it was reassuring him. The Star Kings did not speak at first. They simply observed, their forms shifting and radiating power. Yarrick could feel their presence in his mind, not with words, but with understanding. A strange, deep connection that went beyond anything he had ever known. Fear mixed with awe in his chest. What are you?" he whispered, his voice trembling. One of the figures leaned closer, though leaning was different for them, more like a ripple in the glowing air. Its light was blinding, yet he could make out shapes. Wings, elongated arms, and faces that were both human and not. Then he heard a voice, not from the air but inside his mind. The words were old, ancient, and familiar somehow. He understood them perfectly. "You have awakened us," the voice said. "A human, we did not expect one so small to speak our language." Yarrick stumbled backward, tripping over the crate again. His hands flew to his mouth, unsure if he should speak or remain silent. He realized now that the words he had uttered earlier were not random, they had called them here. He had done something no human had done before. What do you want?" he asked, his voice shaking. The Star Kings did not answer immediately. Instead, their forms shimmered as if they were communicating silently with each other. The air thrummed with energy. Yarrick felt a pull, a strange sensation of being part of something much larger than himself. He was just a delivery boy, and yet, at this moment, he carried the attention of beings who had ruled galaxies. "You speak the language of the lost," another voice said, deep and resonant. "Few can do this. Even our own kin forgot it. Yet you know it as if it has always lived within you." Yarrick swallowed hard, his mind racing. He did not know how he could know the words. He had never studied them. He had never read the ancient texts. Yet the tablet had called them out, and now they were here. Somehow the Star Kings recognized him, acknowledged him. The realization was overwhelming. "You have power," the first voice said. "Not the power of machines, not the power of weapons, but the power of connection. You can bridge what has been lost. You can awaken what others thought gone forever." Yarrick shook his head. "Oh, I'm just a delivery boy. I deliver packages. I'm not a king. Not anything like you." The Star King's forms shifted, almost like they were smiling. It is not what you were. It is what you can be. Your kind, humans, you have potential others cannot see. We were waiting for one who could speak, one who could hear, one who could act. The corridor seemed to expand, stretching into infinity. Symbols floated in the air, intertwining with the glowing figures. Yarrick could feel knowledge brushing against him, glimpses of galaxies long gone, stars that had burned before humanity even existed, secrets of technology and power that had shaped civilizations. It was overwhelming, yet there was clarity too. He understood, in a way, that this moment was larger than himself. He took a deep breath. He had never felt so small and so important at the same time. Fear was still there, but awe dominated his thoughts. Somehow he knew the crate, the tablet, and the Star Kings had chosen him. He did not know why or how, but he understood one truth. His life, as ordinary as it had been, was over. From this moment he would be part of something far greater. Yarrick stepped forward, hands shaking as he reached toward the floating tablet. The hum grew louder, enveloping him. The symbols flared, connecting him to the Star Kings in a way words could not describe. He spoke again, softly, carefully, repeating the sounds he had unknowingly learned. The figures pulsed with energy, acknowledging him. He was no longer just a delivery boy. He was a bridge between humanity and the ancient rulers of the stars. And in that glowing chamber, surrounded by symbols and cosmic light, Yarrick realized that the galaxy would never be the same, not for him and not for anyone else. Yarrick could feel the energy in the chamber growing stronger. The glowing figures of the Star Kings moved around him, their forms shimmering like molten light. Each pulse of energy sent vibrations through the floor and walls, as if the very world had awakened. He tried to take a step back, but the floor seemed to hold him in place, drawing him closer to the glowing tablet. He had never felt anything like this. His life until now had been ordinary, carrying packages, navigating empty corridors, avoiding attention. Yet now he was at the center of something extraordinary. The Star Kings, beings whose power had shaped entire galaxies, had appeared because of him. A delivery boy, insignificant in the eyes of the universe, had awakened them. One of the figures floated closer. Its shape was enormous, wings stretching like shimmering sails, limbs long and elegant. Light poured from it in waves, blinding and beautiful. The Star King bent toward Yarrick, not in menace but in curiosity. The voice came again, deep and resonant, filling Yarrick's mind. You speak what was lost. Few could awaken us, even among your kind. You have unlocked a path that many sought for millennia. Yarrick shook his head, unable to comprehend. I didn't mean to. I was just delivering a crate. I don't even understand what I said. The Star King's light pulsed. Intent matters less than action. You have spoken and we have heard. The dead language of the Star Kings lives again in your voice. That alone changes everything. The chamber itself seemed to breathe with life. Symbols floated in the air, weaving and connecting to form shapes Yarrick could not name. Images flashed before his eyes, vast cities of metal and glass on ancient worlds, fleets of ships moving faster than light, beings of unimaginable power governing entire star systems. It was knowledge beyond human comprehension, yet he could understand fragments, enough to feel the weight of what he had awakened. Another Star King appeared beside the first, its form more jagged, angular, like crystallized energy. It radiated a cold authority, and Yarrick instinctively stepped back. Do you mean to harm me? He asked, his voice trembling. Harm. The voice echoed in his mind. We do not harm the small unless they threaten the balance of the stars. You are different. You are a human, and yet you speak the words of the ancient. You are a bridge between what was and what could be. Yarrick swallowed hard. I'm just a delivery boy. I don't have power. I can't control anything. You have power you do not yet understand, the first Star King said. The dead language is not merely words. It carries authority, command, understanding. Through it, you can awaken things thought lost, connect worlds, and guide the future. Even our kind has forgotten this. Yarrick shook his head, panic rising in his chest. I don't want to be in control. I don't want all this. He gestured at the floating Star Kings, the symbols, the glowing tablet. I'm not ready for this. The Star Kings did not seem angry. Their light shifted softly, almost reassuring. You were never meant to be ready, the second voice said. No one ever is. The universe does not wait for permission. It acts and it chooses. It has chosen you. A hum grew louder, filling the chamber. Yarrick felt it in his bones, a vibration that seemed to sync with his heartbeat. He looked at the tablet again. The symbols moved faster, forming patterns that seemed alive. Each pulse of light connected to him, not physically but in a way that made him understand. He was a part of it now, whether he wanted to be or not. You must listen, the first voice said. Galaxies are in danger. Some of our kind have turned against the rest. They seek to dominate, to destroy. Only one who can speak the language can unite the fragments of the past to prevent chaos. You have spoken. You can act. Yarrick staggered backward, clutching his chest. I don't know how. I'm just a boy. I deliver packages. I'm not like you. You are human, the Star King said. That is exactly why you can do what we cannot. Humans see beyond what they are told, they act without centuries of pride and tradition to bind them. Your simplicity is your strength. Something clicked in Jarrek's mind. He remembered the long days of routine deliveries, the quiet moments of observation, the ways he had learned to notice things others ignored. Perhaps the Star King was right. Perhaps being human, ordinary, unnoticed, underestimated, was exactly what made him powerful. He stepped closer to the tablet, reaching out his hand. The symbols flared at his touch, and he felt a surge of understanding. Not complete knowledge, not mastery, but enough to know that he could make a difference. The Star Kings pulsed in recognition, their forms brightening as if approving him. The chamber fell silent for a moment, the hum settling into a steady vibration. Yarrick took a deep breath. Fear was still there, but awe and determination pushed it back. He was still a delivery boy. His life had been ordinary. But he was no longer alone, and he now held the attention of beings who had ruled the stars. Somehow, in a universe filled with incomprehensible power, he realized something vital. Even the smallest being could make a difference. Even a delivery boy could awaken the Star Kings. And if he could awaken them, perhaps he could also guide them, or at least survive what was coming next. Yarrick looked at the glowing tablet, then at the figures around him, and whispered again, this time with intention. The chamber responded, light and energy pulsing in harmony. He did not yet know what would happen, but he knew one thing clearly. His life and perhaps the fate of the galaxy had changed forever. Yarrick stared at the Star Kings, his mind spinning. He had awakened them, spoken the dead language, and now he could feel the weight of their presence pressing in on him. They were enormous, majestic, and powerful, yet they seemed curious, almost like they were studying him. He, a simple delivery boy, had become the center of attention for beings older than galaxies themselves. One of the Star Kings floated closer, its light shifting from pale gold to deep blue. You are human, it said in a voice that resonated inside Jarrek's mind. And yet, you speak our language naturally. How do you know the words? Yarrick shook his head, still trying to understand. I don't know. The tablet, I felt it and the words came out. I didn't learn them. I swear I didn't. The Star King's glow pulsed as if considering this. That is precisely why you are valuable. No being of our kind can speak the language freely. Our memories are burdened with centuries of pride, arrogance, and rules. You humans, you are unburdened. Your mind is free. Another Star King appeared, its form jagged and shimmering, radiating energy like lightning in slow motion. Your simplicity is your strength. Where we are trapped by tradition, you act without hesitation. Where we hesitate over consequence, you simply speak and create connection. Yarrick shivered. The words were flattering, but he still felt small and ordinary. I don't know what to do. I'm just a delivery boy. I don't have power. I can't fight, I can't control anything. You do not need to fight, the first Star King said. You do not need to control. You only need to understand, to act with intent, and to speak. Your voice carries authority that even we cannot command. You can awaken what was lost, unite what was scattered, and bridge gaps no other being can reach. The chamber seemed to hum in agreement. Symbols floated in the air, connecting the Star Kings and the tablet with lines of light that rippled like liquid energy. Yarrick felt something shifting inside him. He could see fragments of knowledge. Ancient fleets, lost technology, civilizations that had risen and fallen before humans had set foot in space. It was overwhelming, yet there was clarity in the chaos. He took a step closer to the glowing tablet. The energy responded to him, pulsing faster. He felt a connection not just with the Star Kings but with the language itself. The dead language was alive in him, flowing through him like a river of light. Every sound he spoke resonated with power, every syllable a key to things long forgotten. You have potential no other being has had for millennia, the jagged Star King said. Even we, the ancient rulers, cannot access what you can. Humanity, small and unassuming, carries within it a freedom and adaptability we have lost. Yarrick swallowed hard. So, you mean humans, we're special? Yes, the first Star King said. But not in the way your kind thinks. Not in strength, not in technology, not in armies. You are special because of your mind, your voice, your ability to act without the weight of history holding you back. That is power greater than many civilizations ever wielded. The realization hit Yarok like a wave. His entire life had been ordinary, unnoticed. He delivered packages, obeyed instructions, and kept himself invisible. Yet now he understood that his human nature, simple, flexible, quick to adapt, was what made him uniquely capable. He could bridge the gap between the Star Kings and the universe, between the ancient and the modern. He reached out and spoke the words again, slowly at first, feeling them flow naturally from his mouth. The chamber responded, symbols glowing brighter, lights connecting the Star Kings in patterns he had never seen before. The air pulsed with energy, and for the first time, Yarok realized he could influence these ancient beings simply with his speech. You see it now, the first Star King said. You are the link. Others of our kind are scattered, some corrupted, some lost. You can guide them. You can unite them. You can awaken civilizations that we can no longer reach. Yarok's mind raced. But, what if I fail? I'm not ready. I don't know their ways. I'm just me. You will learn, the jagged Star King replied. The dead language is a tool, but intent is its master. You do not need to be ready. The universe never waits for readiness. It chooses and it acts. And it has chosen you. Yarok took a deep breath and let it sink in. Fear was still there, gnawing at the edges of his mind. But awe and determination began to replace it. He had a responsibility now, not because he sought it, not because he asked for it, but because the universe had placed it in his hands. He looked around the chamber at the glowing tablet and the majestic Star Kings, and felt something he had never felt before: purpose. His ordinary life, the one filled with quiet deliveries and unnoticed days, had been a training ground. It had prepared him, in ways he did not understand, for this moment. And for the first time, Yarok realized that being human, ordinary, underestimated, unnoticed, was exactly the advantage he needed. His mind was free, his voice was powerful, and his actions could change the fate of stars. He stepped forward again, raising his hand toward the tablet. Then, I'll do it, he said, voice steady now, though still trembling. I'll learn. I'll try. The chamber pulsed with light. The Star Kings shifted closer, almost like a chorus of acknowledgement. Symbols in the air glowed brighter, connecting everything. Yarok could feel it, the dead language, the power, the responsibility, flowing through him. He was still a delivery boy, yet he was more than that now. In that moment, Yarok understood something vital. Being human was not a weakness. It was the key. And with that key he could face whatever the galaxy had in store. Yarok stood in the glowing chamber, his mind still spinning from everything he had experienced. The Star Kings hovered around him, massive and majestic, their energy pulsing like living light. Symbols floated in the air, connecting them to the tablet and to him, forming intricate patterns that he could barely comprehend. His heart pounded with excitement and fear. He had awakened beings older than the stars themselves, spoken the dead language, and now he was faced with a choice that no human had ever faced before. For a moment he wanted to run. He was just a delivery boy, used to small tasks and simple routines. He had never commanded armies, never solved interstellar conflicts, and certainly never dealt with beings who could annihilate entire worlds with a thought. The weight of responsibility pressed down on him like a gravity field. He closed his eyes, trying to calm his racing mind. But the Star Kings did not demand anything from him. Their light shimmered, and their presence seemed patient, waiting. It was as if they understood his fear, but also knew that fear alone would not prevent him from making a difference. Yarok realized that his choice was not about power, it was about action. He thought back to the crate, the tablet, and the moment he had spoken the dead language. One small act, an ordinary delivery, had changed everything. If a simple action could awaken ancient rulers, then perhaps another act could shape the future. He took a deep breath and opened his eyes. I don't know what to do, he admitted, his voice trembling. I'm not ready. I'm just a human. I'm not like you. You are human, said the first Star King, its voice deep and resonant, filling his mind. And that is why you can act where we cannot. You are free of centuries of pride, free of expectations. Your kind sees opportunities that we have long forgotten. That is your strength. Yarok shook his head. But what if I fail? What if I make things worse? The Star Kings pulsed softly as if responding to his question. Failure is part of the path, the jagged Star King said. Even we have failed and even we have made mistakes. You will learn. You will grow. But if you do nothing, the galaxy will suffer. Your choice is not between perfect and imperfect. It is between action and inaction. Yarek's mind raced. He thought of the countless worlds the Star Kings had ruled, of civilizations long gone, of knowledge lost to time. He realized that even if he failed, even if he made mistakes, doing nothing was worse. The universe had chosen him for a reason, and he could not ignore that call. Slowly he stepped forward, hand outstretched toward the tablet. The symbols flared at his touch, and energy flowed through him, connecting him to the Star Kings in a way he had never felt before. He felt their wisdom, their power, their hope, and their fear. And he felt something else, his own strength, born from human determination, courage, and curiosity. I will try, he said, his voice steadying. I don't know how yet, but I will learn. I will do what I can. The Star Kings shifted their forms, light rippling across their bodies like waves in a cosmic ocean. That is all we ask, the first voice said. You need not be perfect. You only need to act with intent, to speak with understanding, and to move forward despite fear. That is enough. Yarek nodded, a strange calm washing over him. He was still a delivery boy. He still had simple routines, small tasks, and ordinary skills. But he now carried something extraordinary: the attention of the Star Kings, the ability to speak the dead language, and the potential to influence the fate of countless worlds. He was no longer invisible. He mattered. He thought of the galaxy beyond the chamber. Planets teeming with life, outposts floating in silence, civilizations at the edge of collapse or greatness. His ordinary life had never prepared him for this, yet somehow, it had prepared him perfectly. Being human, small, underestimated, adaptable, was the advantage he needed. You will guide us? Yarek asked, unsure if he was asking or declaring. We will follow, the jagged Star King replied. But guidance is not given freely. It must be earned through action. Speak. Decide. Your human way will show us paths we have forgotten. Yarek took a deep breath. He could feel the chamber responding to him, the tablet glowing, the symbols pulsing. He spoke the words again, carefully, with intention this time. The language flowed from him naturally, and with every sound the Star Kings seemed to acknowledge him, their energy forming patterns that connected past and future, human and Star King, ordinary and extraordinary. He realized then that his choice was not just about himself. It was about humanity, about the lost knowledge of the Star Kings, about the galaxy itself. One decision, one act, one voice could ripple across the stars, shaping destiny in ways no one could foresee. Yarek straightened, his fear replaced by determination. He did not know the full path and he did not know the consequences. But he knew he could not turn away. He had been chosen and now he would act. The chamber pulsed brighter than ever, light spilling into the corridors and across the ancient walls. The Star Kings hovered, patient and observant, their presence encouraging and awe-inspiring. Yarek felt small yet powerful, ordinary yet extraordinary. For the first time in his life, the delivery boy understood what it meant to matter. Not because of his strength, not because of wealth or skill, but because of choice, courage, and the simple act of stepping forward. And in that moment, Yarek, once just a delivery boy, became something more. A human who could shape the galaxy, awaken ancient powers, and carry hope where it had long been forgotten. The stars outside seemed to shine brighter, as if acknowledging him, and Yarek knew that the universe had just begun to notice.